Now at 9, what local health officials say about the prospect of the pandemic transitioning to something else.
The price of gas is rising across the country. Here in Bedminster, New Jersey, this station is selling regular for $5.89 a gallon. I'm Madison Allworth. Coming up, I'll explain why this problem could be getting worse.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. COVID-19 pandemic has been a part of our daily lives for nearly 2 years now, leaving many wondering if it's ever going to come to an end. Officials say COVID-19 isn't likely to come to an end, but there's an important transition ahead. KOM's Chris Warner explains.
The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 began as that, a pandemic. It ultimately mutated into what we know today as the flu, making it an endemic. Freeman's Infection Prevention and Control Manager Jessica Liberty explains the difference.
With the pandemic, we believe that there will be an end of the disease. With an endemic, there is no end to the disease. So you just learn to live normal life with its existence.
Larry Bergner, administrator of the Newton County Health Department, says what he's heard says we may be heading to an endemic stage with COVID.
I think most of the scientific community would agree or thinks that it will be with us for a long, long time, maybe indefinitely, like the flu. I think COVID is heading in that direction.
But what does it mean when COVID transitions from a pandemic to an endemic?
What that allows us to do is it allows us to live as normal as we can while still knowing that it exists, but that we're not completely throwing our whole life upside down with it still being here.
Liberty says when that time comes, it may be a difficult shift for some.
And I think for us as a community, we need to kind of prepare our minds for a little bit of a shift. You know, we've been so hyper focused on COVID pandemic measures that there's going to have to be a mind shift for us to be able to get us to a place where we can live with it.
Liberty says there's always hope. And while there's no specific timeline as to when a transition may occur, things are looking up.
Guidance has continued to shift from the CDC, so they're looking at preparing us for that. So I think, we're going to get to a really good place where we continue to take measures to protect ourselves, but it's going to be sustaining. So it's not an extreme measure that we have to continue to take. So I'm really excited to see what 2022 holds, because I think that we'll ultimately reach a place where we can coexist with COVID.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
Both Bergner and Liberty say COVID numbers are dropping from the county and hospital perspectives. They also say another thing that's going to help us move toward an endemic stage will be more ways to treat COVID. President Biden easing caution on what's quickly becoming a national trend of rolling back COVID restrictions, while the FDA pumps brakes on its plan to approve a vaccine for kids under 5. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Siri has the details.
As COVID cases continue to drop nationwide, more governors are relaxing rules on mask mandates or dropping them entirely in an effort to return to normal. President Biden in an interview with NBC News on Sunday saying that may be premature.
If you're exercising personal freedom puts someone else in jeopardy, their health in jeopardy. I don't consider that being very dealing with freedom.
Mask mandates, at least for now, are sticking around in many schools as the FDA's plan to greenlight a vaccine for kids under 5 is hitting a snag. Pfizer and its research partner BioNTech announcing they will delay their request for an emergency use approval by at least 2 months.
Since there's a low number of cases overall in the clinical trial, one case in one direction or another can tip the perception of the vaccine's overall effectiveness.
Kids overall are less likely to get COVID, but those with pre-existing health conditions could still be at risk. Around 1,100 deaths in children have been attributed to the virus since the start of the pandemic. By comparison, just 5 children have died from the flu during that same time period. Experts say a vaccine mandate for kids is unlikely to happen.
They're not going to say children under the age of 5 should get vaccinated. They'll say something like they could get vaccinated to reduce their risk.
The FDA says it will wait until there's more data on how well children under 5 fare with a 3rd dose of the Pfizer vaccine. That information could become available in April. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Doug Heddy joining us now. Good day with some good sunshine, Doug.
Yeah, it turned out to be a great Monday for us today. Temperatures fantastic. Most of us warmed up into the upper 50s. For highs, 58 started kind of chilly at 27. Average high now is 50 degrees, starting to rise, going in the right direction. Pretty much clear skies. Not a whole bunch going on here, but we are watching our next storm system. It's out in the Pacific Northwest, and this system will really change our weather up by Wednesday into Thursday. As of right now, we're sitting kind of low to mid 40s. We're not going to drop off too much more tonight. The winds are starting to crank back out of the southeast, and as that occurs, that's going to help us warm up quite a bit more the next couple days. Big storm system moving in. We're going to talk about that here in just a bit.
Thanks, Doug. Kansas officials face 2 lawsuits over a Republican redistricting law. The lawsuits filed today challenge a map that costs the state's only Democrat in Congress some of the territory in her Kansas City area district that she carries by wide margins in elections. A team of attorneys filed a lawsuit in Wyandotte County District Court in the Kansas City area. The American Civil Liberties Union of Kansas filed another shortly afterward. The lawsuits argue that the map enacted last week is unacceptable because it splits Kansas City, Kansas, and decreases the number of minority voters in U.S. Representative Sharice Davids' district. Republicans reject those criticisms. The leader of the Missouri Senate says he is trying to find a magic path to an agreement on a congressional redistricting plan for his state. The Senate met in a rare Saturday session as a filibuster by a conservative coalition continued. Republicans hold 6 of the 8 U.S. House seats. A redistricting plan passed by the Missouri House is projected to continue that, but conservative senators are pushing for a map that could give Republicans a shot at 7 seats. Investigators are set to begin digging through rubble to determine the cause of the massive fire that smoldered for 4 days, engulfed a $65 million luxury apartment complex in Oklahoma City that had been under construction. At least 80 firefighters working in 6-hour rotations were called in to help extinguish the blaze that began on Tuesday at the 326-unit complex. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Oklahoma City firefighters were helped in their efforts to put out lingering flames by demolition crews who cleared areas and allowed access to hot spots. The luxury apartment complex had been scheduled to open sometime in the spring. Fears of a Russian invasion in Ukraine driving up the price of oil, with the current national average on the rise. Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth reports now from New Jersey.
We may have found the most expensive gas in the state of New Jersey here in Bedminster today. This gas station behind me, they're charging $5.89 for regular, and that's if you pay cash. If you pay credit, it's another 10 cents on top of that. This could be a sneak peek of what's to come, as the price of crude per gallon is trading over $90 per barrel. Now, as everyone waits to see how the situation in the Ukraine unfolds, the $100 per barrel milestone could be on its way. High prices are not just at this station, they're climbing across the U.S. Energy prices are one of the biggest drivers of inflation, and we are seeing it in the rise of gas prices. The national average for a gallon of regular gas is $3.48 today, up $1 from a year ago. And experts say we could see the average move higher in the coming months.
All of the factors are going to point to an upward trajectory when we start seeing the transition, warmer weather, refineries doing maintenance. All the ingredients are there, Stuart, to hit $4 a gallon.
We are already seeing an energy crisis in Europe, and if Russia decides to invade Ukraine, it could make that problem worse and further drive up inflation. In Bedminster, New Jersey, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
Today marks 4 years since the Parkland massacre. 17 people died when a gunman opened fire inside a Florida high school. Since then, gun control activists have made it their mission to enact change on federal legislation, but they say they haven't seen any significant progress. With rising crime impacting U.S. cities, many leaders are trying to get a handle on the issue with new policies. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has a closer look tonight from Washington.
A drastic attempt to draw attention to gun violence. From the top of a construction crane near the White House, protester Manuel Oliver called for a meeting with President Biden. 4 years ago, Oliver lost his son, Joaquin, one of 17 people killed in the Parkland school shooting.
So the whole war will listen to Joaquin.
Since taking office, the president says he's taken action to fight gun violence, from trying to curb the sales of ghost guns, untraceable homemade firearms, to cracking down on gun dealers who purposely violate the law. But gun control advocates believe the Biden administration can and should do more.
President Biden needs to do something because there are certain things that he's leaving on the table that he can do right now, like creating a national office of gun violence prevention and a national director of gun violence prevention, and creating a comprehensive plan to dramatically reduce gun deaths.
Critics, meanwhile, are slamming progressive policies and the slogan "Defund the Police," blaming it for the rise in violent crime in major cities throughout the country. Some Democrats now looking to shake off the message.
Well, it's not surprising that they're trying to distance themselves from defunding the police because we're in the midst of the worst crime wave since the 1990s.
President Biden is asking Congress to approve $500 million to reduce violent crime and to also pass legislation that would include requiring background checks for all gun sales and banning assault weapons. In Washington, Malda Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Glenn Percy served in the U.S. Navy from 1948 to 52. Native of Iola, Kansas, Percy won several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Glenn Percy, tonight's four-state hero. Meteorologist Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. Later in sports, a Missouri Southern freshman is named the MIAA Player of the Week for the third straight week.
Let the winning
Fox.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Temperatures great, upper 50s to near 60 degrees, quite a bit warmer than what we saw on Sunday as we only went into low to mid 40s for highs. And then a cold start this morning, upper 20s and then back near 60 for us today, which is pretty good across the region. Anywhere from 39 Fort Scott, Miami, we have 43 in Carthage, 46 in Anderson, Neodesha sitting at 41, and we're not going to drop off too much more as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Eventually after midnight, our winds are going to kind of shift out of the southeast and then eventually the south by morning, already out of the east, so that's going to keep our temperatures up just a little bit, but our humidity fairly low at about 45%. All right, nothing going on here. We have pretty much clear skies across most of the central plains. Our next storm system is building out toward the west. It is in the Pacific Northwest. You can see the jet stream starting to dip. So this area of low pressure, this is our system. It's going to track deep into the Four Corners and then kick out right on top of us as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday. And just a minor shift in that track of that system is really going to adjust if we get more severe weather or if we get more wintry weather as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. But it's definitely a strong storm system. All right, for us tonight, we look okay. Clouds will increase tomorrow afternoon, but a fantastic day as temperatures are going to go into the mid-60s. 38 to start, 62 by noon, high temp is 66. It is going to be windy, those south winds at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Then as we go into tomorrow night and then into Wednesday morning, clouds really thicken up. We'll start to get some on and off showers throughout the daytime hours on Wednesday. I still think we'll go into the 60s for afternoon highs. Showers, thunderstorms increase as we go into Wednesday evening. Some of these could be strong to low-grade severe, especially I-44 and south. So that's something we got to watch as we go through the overnight hours on Wednesday night. And then as we head into Thursday morning, you can see that colder air sinking farther south. So we'll have rain, and then we'll have freezing rain, sleet over towards snow. I think the heaviest is going to be just north of the region, but something we want to watch as we go through Thursday, because if this system tracks a little farther south, it pulls us more into heavier snow. A little farther north, we won't get any snow at all. So a very interesting storm system as we go through the daytime hours Thursday, and then behind it will start to dry out. It's going to be cold on Thursday into Friday morning, but at least it's short-lived and we start to warm things right back up by the weekend. All right, so rain increases Wednesday, really picks up Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, and then by Thursday we switch over to freezing rain, sleet, and snow. I'm going to be real conservative on the amounts right now because I want to see how the system tracks, but really from Neosho north, light sleet, light snow accumulations. We're going to say about an inch or less right now, but that may go up. And then northwestern counties, at least 3 inches. Somebody's going to get 6 to 12 easily. We just have to see if that's just north of our region or if it is in our northwestern county. So a lot to watch over the next couple days. 66 tomorrow, 63 Wednesday. We drop into the 20s on Thursday, but back to 62 next Sunday.
Probably going to have to be careful regardless what happens on Thursday, but for the most part, not too slippery, right?
We hope not.
Okay, yeah, it's just like you said, it could change.
Yeah, we got to see where it tracks.
I got you. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, some say the latest example of unfair censorship, money blocked from the Freedom Convoy in Canada.
To attend, entertainment schedule is subject to change.
It is Valentine's Day, with this being February 14th. It's also National Organ Donation Day. According to U.S. health officials, more than 100,000 American people, including children, are waiting for life-saving organs. The need isn't just for organs like kidneys, livers, and hearts, though. Donating 1 pint of blood can save 3 lives. Walmart is making a major change to its coronavirus policies. The retail giant will no longer require fully vaccinated workers to wear masks in stores unless they're mandatory under local or state rules. The change also affects Sam's Club workers. Unvaccinated workers still have to mask up. The change comes as more states ease mask rules, as we heard about earlier. Women who have sleep apnea, both during pregnancy and in the first several years after delivery, are 3 times more likely to develop hypertension than pregnant women who didn't have issues breathing at night. Researchers in Boston say that women were also twice as likely to develop metabolic syndrome, which consists of a number of conditions that increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. House Republicans demanding answers after GoFundMe blocked donations to the Canadian truckers' Freedom Convoy. Critics say it's just the latest example of big tech censorship. Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn reports from Capitol Hill.
Republican lawmakers want more information and even a hearing looking into why GoFundMe made the controversial decision to single out Canadian truckers, part of the Freedom Convoy, protesting vaccine mandates in Canada, saying it's another sign that big tech is biased and uses platforms to punish those who have views they don't agree with. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise and House Oversight Committee Ranking Member James Comer calling it, quote, selective discrimination. State attorneys general are also looking into GoFundMe's decision to shut down the Freedom Convoy fundraiser. Attorneys general in Texas, Florida, West Virginia, and Missouri have started their own probes into the matter. A competitor, though, did step up to host donations. Give, Send, Go enabled that people to fill out online fundraising for the Canadian truckers. The site says they have received more than $8 million in donations in response.
This was a huge PR mistake by GoFundMe. Our platform is booming. We haven't seen this much business. People are vowing to never use GoFundMe again because of the ideological stances that they're taking. We take a neutral position. We allow people to fundraise.
But there is another snag. That website was hacked overnight, and reportedly the names of people that donated to the fundraiser have been exposed online. In Washington, Hillary Vaughn, Fox News.
Still ahead could be a little bit of hope for no war.
Russia says talks with the West aren't dead yet, but U.S. officials warn an invasion of Ukraine could happen within a matter of days. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details straight ahead.
We're here to AMNewsNow.com.
Today, Ukraine's president said he's been told Russia will invade his country 2 days from now, announcing the news in a video post on Facebook, also Instagram. Now the U.S. is closing its embassy in Ukraine's capital city, moving all remaining staff near the Polish border. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Despite signals from Russian officials that they'll continue negotiations with the West, they are not drawing down their 130,000 troops gathered near the Ukrainian border.
We are told that February 16th will be the day of the attack. We will make it a Union Day. The decree has already been signed.
I won't get into a specific date. I don't think that would be smart. I would just tell you that it is entirely possible that he could move with little to no warning.
In response, NATO countries are building up their own forces in Eastern Europe. The U.S. is moving more than 3,000 soldiers into the region, warning Russia not to invade its neighbor. Russian President Vladimir Putin denies having any plans for war, but has a list of demands, including that Ukraine not be allowed to join NATO.
Mr. President, is the risk of a Russian invasion higher than ever?
President Biden and other NATO allies are threatening Russia with more sanctions, but some foreign policy experts point out Russia has resisted economic pressure for years.
And if you don't show strength, they're going to continue to push. I don't think this president has frankly, the courage to make hard and strong decisions when it comes to life and death and war and peace.
On Tuesday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is scheduled to leave for Europe, where he will meet with NATO allies about Russia's military buildup. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Next, Hollywood, representing those LA Rams in a way only Hollywood can.
At U.S. Cellular, we're
That iconic Hollywood sign getting a quick transformation. City of Los Angeles has started building a temporary display and installation over the sign to celebrate Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Temporary installation, a partnership between the city, the Rams, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, and the Hollywood Sign Trust, will transform the Hollywood sign to read Rams House. Not for long, though. It's only going to be up through Wednesday. Then after Wednesday, it's going to be taken down. Only in Hollywood, right? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Why a man said the perfect place to bring my honey for Valentine's Day is the Mall Deli in Pittsburgh.
Another Russian doping scandal casts shadows on the Olympic Games. In London, I'm Alex Hogan with more on that story coming up.
So Jeremy and Debbie Johnson are celebrating their 31st wedding anniversary this year. To celebrate, congratulations by the way, to celebrate, Jeremy wanted to do something special for Valentine's Day, so he took Debbie to their favorite restaurant, the Mall Deli in Pittsburgh's Meadowbrook Mall. That also happens to be where Jeremy gave Debbie a promise ring back in 1990. To make today truly special, as we're seeing, he also wore the exact same tuxedo from their wedding and gave her a new promise ring.
Just him getting down on one knee and recommitting and wanting to be together another 32 years, that broke my heart. It was just happy tears.
Jeremy and Debbie also sat in the same spot at Mall Deli as they did all those years ago. Some other forsake couples used this Valentine's Day to get their auras read. Now and Zen, a shop in Joplin, hosted an aura photo shoot. People put their hands in a scanner that took a photo. Organizers say a software program then reads the energy given off and translate it to colors. Then the photographer describes what the colors mean.
Frequency in our world is either what we see, which is light wave frequency, or we hear, which is sound wave frequency. And light wave frequency is what creates color. So because each of these have their own frequency, they have their own color. Now, we have a lot of different chakras, these energy centers. It's not just those 7 that lay upon our spine, but those are the ones we're going to talk about.
Now and Zen is located at 420 North Range Line in Joplin. Hey, you're invited to help Carthage, Missouri choose the theme for the 56th annual Maple Leaf Festival. The city is accepting submissions through February 28th. People who want to submit an entry should provide their theme suggestion, of course, also name, address, date, time, phone number, also email. For more information on how to submit a suggestion, just head to our website, komnewsnow.com. A recent report reveals 24 million taxpayers are still waiting on last year's refund. According to data from the Washington Post, the IRS has nearly 24 million individual and business tax returns that have not been processed and need to be manually completed. The agency reported back in December more than 11 million unprocessed reports because of the pandemic, but numbers now are more than doubled. The federal agency is warning returns may be delayed for 10 months or more. CDC has updated its checklist for developmental milestones for babies and young children for the first time in years. Benchmarks include smiling for the first time, taking a first step. The changes are expected to make it easier to identify delays that could be a sign of autism or developmental disorders that could benefit from early intervention. All right, a recent report reveals weddings are going to cost more this 2022 for couples. The firm Wedding Report released data showing more than 2 million weddings are expected this year in the U.S. Various reports cite industry experts saying couples should expect a 10 to 15% increase in their expenses. Suppliers are increasing the prices on couples because of the ongoing rise of essential wedding supplies. Ready for this? The average wedding cost will rise from $24,000 to to $27,000. There's a lot of single people in here, some teenagers who are just raised their eyebrow when I said that number. Teenage Russian figure skater is going to be allowed to vie for another medal in the Winter Olympics. The United States Olympic Committee and former Olympians, though, are speaking out against this decision. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more.
The Olympic community is in an uproar after Russian figure skater Camila Valieva was cleared to continue competing in the Beijing Games despite a failed drug test.
This is devastating, not only for figure skating, but for the Olympics as a whole.
The Court of Arbitration for Sport cited Valieva's status as a minor for its decision. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee criticized the ruling, writing in part, quote, "This appears to be another chapter in the systemic and pervasive disregard for clean sport by Russia." The World Anti-Doping Agency also expressed concern and plans to investigate the 15-year-old skater's entourage.
It doesn't seem to change. We still have the old generation of coaches and doctors who are working with the minors, with the athletes.
Valieva tested positive for a heart medication back in December. The results did not come to light until last week after the Russian Olympic Committee won gold in a team skating event. Russia's anti-doping agency will now investigate, though many are skeptical of the outcome. Valieva returns to the ice Tuesday for the women's individual event. If she finishes in the top 3, the International Olympic Committee says there will be no medal ceremony during the Games.
It would include an athlete who, on the one hand, has a positive A sample, but whose violation of the anti-doping rules has not yet been established on the other hand.
The IOC says it will organize medal ceremonies once this investigation concludes. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
A bit later, being more environmentally friendly.
Special fishing nets could help save the lives of millions of sharks and sea turtles. I'm Jackie Banez with more on the groundbreaking research straight ahead.
Commercial Bank would like to thank the Force.
It definitely turned out to be a good Monday for us today. Temperature is fantastic as we went into the upper 50s during the afternoon hours. Quite a bit warmer than what we saw really over the past couple days. Lower 40s yesterday, cold start, upper 20s during the morning hours, and then we warmed all the way up into the upper 50s during the afternoon. Still, it's not bad. Most of us are sitting upper 30s to lower 40s. We're actually pretty close to our overnight low from this point on, especially after midnight. We'll actually start to rise just a little bit. Looks okay. 7th and range line currently outside, sitting at 44. Easterly winds at about 5. Humidity is sitting at 45%. But nothing going on here. But if we track a little bit farther toward the north and to the west, you can see the clouds increasing, the beginnings of our next storm system, which will start to affect us. Area of low pressure right across the Pacific Northwest, which is going to track out into the Central Plains as we go through the next couple of days. So our chances for rain really start to go up by Wednesday. Until then, we look okay. Temperatures bump up a little bit. Late tonight, we go into the mid-60s tomorrow. We start to get clouds increasing, especially after 2 or 3 o'clock. 38 to start, 62 by noon, high temp is 66. It is going to be windy. We're going to have south winds at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. The atmosphere is dry, so definitely not a day that you want to burn across the area. Clouds continue to thicken. Tomorrow night, we get a few random showers in here by the time we go into Wednesday morning, and then just kind of on and off showers throughout the day. On Wednesday, temperature still into the mid-60s. Wednesday evening, thunderstorms start to erupt right along the cold front and increase as we go through Wednesday evening and Wednesday night. Some of these storms could be strong, possibly severe, especially along and south of Interstate 44 into northeastern Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, northwestern Arkansas. As we work into Thursday morning, that rain, freezing rain, sleet line starts to drop south. So in the pink, freezing rain, in the purple, sleet, in the blue, we're looking at snow. And then we have periods of light snow as we go through the daytime hours on Thursday as we drop into the 20s. If this system shifts just a little bit north, a little bit south, it really changes our forecast. So we kind of want to watch this as we go through about the next 48 hours or so. Now, on the back side of this system, we do get colder air. Thankfully, it doesn't last long. We're going to have a couple cold days, and then we warm right back up. Majority of the system, rain. Rain on Wednesday, over to a little bit of sleet, freezing rain, and snow by the time we head into Thursday. And we're going to keep amounts light right now. We'll start to really fine-tune these tomorrow and bump these up. But in the white, right now we're going light accumulations, mainly an inch or less. In the blue, several inches of snow. Our northern counties will most likely fall into that 6 to 12 range. 66 tomorrow, 63 on Wednesday, dropping into the 20s on Thursday.
Do you ever laugh? I know you know more about this stuff than I, of course, but you ever laugh when you look at the forecast? 20 degrees on Thursday, 68 on Monday.
Yeah, it's all over the place, especially around here. That's why I like the weather here.
Yeah, keeps you busy.
Yep.
Doug, thanks, man. All right, coming up in sports, Webb City taking on Neosho tonight in a COC matchup. Plus, Pitt State and Missouri Southern meeting on the court twice this week. Hear from the Gorillas next.
Mascots nationwide
on Fox.
Missouri Southern freshman Lacey Stokes has once again been named the MIAA Player of the Week. It's the third consecutive week she has earned the honor and the fourth time this season. Stokes helped the Lions to 3 more wins last week, pushing the team's win streak to 11 games. She averaged 21.6 points, 6.3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5.3 steals last week. In Wednesday's game against Missouri Western, Stokes set the freshman single-season steal record at Southern. She now has 84. Southern and Pittsburg State meet this week for 2 games. The Gorillas are on the road on Wednesday and at home on Saturday. Pitt State has won their last 3 of 4, including a big win over 21-ranked Missouri Western. They beat the Griffins by 26 points on Saturday.
Our win over Western was really good because we have a big game coming up next against Southern, and they are at the top of the league right now. And I think this, if we win the next 2 games, I think it'll be really beneficial for the way we are playing and the way that we can come together as a team.
That rivalry has always made us play a lot harder, so I'm super excited for it.
In the COC tonight, Webb City is on the road against Neosho. Both teams trying to stop a losing skid. Webb City gets the road win 48-40. Sam Mancini leads the Cardinals with 15 points and 12 rebounds. Nia Robbins adds 9 points. For Neosho, Carly Ellick also had a double-double. She posts a game-high 21 points and 14 boards. The Rams were crowned Super Bowl 56 champions on Sunday, beating the Bengals 23-20 in their home stadium in LA. The game was decided in the final few minutes. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp took over on the Rams' final drive. They went 79 yards on 15 plays. Kupp caught a 1-yard pass to put the Rams up 23-20. He was named the MVP. Aaron Donald took care of the rest on defense. He got pressure on Joe Burrow to make the game-sealing play.
You know, I can't say enough about the resilience of this team. Guys stepping up when they had to, and it's going to sound like a broken record, but that's what makes this team great. That's why they're world champs, is our best players stepped up in the most crucial and critical moments. I love this group so much, love these coaches, and that drives you to try to be your best within the framework of your role, and I think that's what made this team special.
Back with more news after this.
Commercial fishing is threatening marine life around the world by the type of nets that those commercial fishermen use. But as Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez reports, a unique study using lighted nets is proving to save the lives of sea turtles, sharks, and more.
Every year, millions of sea turtles, stingrays, sharks, and other marine creatures are caught in the nets of commercial fishermen, resulting in them being badly hurt or killed. But new research is shedding some light on how to save these ocean dwellers and even improve the global fishing industry. Off the coast of Mexico, marine biologist Jesse Senko and his team have been hard at work, conducting experiments using fishing nets lined with special green LED lights. When comparing the lighted nets to standard ones, Senko found a huge difference in what wound up being caught.
The first day we were out there, we pulled in a net and we had something like 50 to 100 rays and sharks in the control net and like one in the illuminated.
And as the study progressed,
we found overall a 63% statistically significant reduction in the total bycatch. So these are all the organisms that would normally be tossed back dead or injured. Then within that 63% reduction, we found a 95% reduction in sharks, skates, and rays.
Researchers also found the lights helped make fishermen's lives easier, reducing the time it took them to sort through their nets by 57% because fewer unwanted creatures were caught. Senko and his team don't have a definite answer as to why the green lights ward off vulnerable marine life, but they hope to unlock more clues during their upcoming projects in the Caribbean and North Carolina. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up, look at the entertainment coming your way this week right here on Fox 14. Drama, dancing competition, comedy, and big guest stars. It's time to talk Fox TV tune-ins and take a look at the all-new episodes this week. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
The Joes meet all the parents. Here's what's hot on Fox.
What?
First Monday, an out-of-this-world 911 Lone Star has Judd trying to connect with Wyatt, leading to a father-son search for aliens, along with Owen. Then Broadway's Betty Buckley guest stars on The Cleaning Lady, as Tony searches all options to save her son's health. Tuesday on The Resident, Dr. Bell is cleared for his first surgery back.
Oh, yeah!
That's followed by The Real Dirty Dancing, with 3 more couples performing more movie moves in hopes of making it to the Time of My Life finale.
I played up in Canada.
Wednesday, Rachel Platten, Robin Thicke, and Raven Simone join I Can See Your Voice. Then Next Level Chef brings a fusion dish challenge.
How would you feel?
Thursday, the ladies' families visit the manor on Joe Millionaire for richer or poorer.
This one right here?
Call Me Cat laughs come courtesy of cupcake baking and Phil joining Sheila on a trip to cheer her up. And Pivoting has Amy on a mission to get Colleen's old phone number back, while Sarah continues her dating life. WWE Friday Night SmackDown airs a taped edition with the WWE Saudi Arabia Elimination Chamber pay-per-view event the next day. And in upcoming series, we now have a look at the Eric Stone Street hosted competition Domino Masters and its dedicated domino enthusiasts.
Are you ready?
Domino Masters premieres Wednesday, March 9th here on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of some otter pups at the Brookfield Zoo taking a bath. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.